Okay, my lovelies. Welcome to the Reiki Skills Lodge. We are doing Reiji Ho today, but we're going to do a little bit of embodiment work with Reiki before we get started, um, because it's really quite a physical act, which is kind of a strange thing to say because obviously we're hands-on healers. So we think about it a lot of the time when there's someone with us who's in front of us that we're working on. But a lot of us only work at distance. And obviously, when we're doing these skills lodges, I try to kind of keep it to things that we can do just by meditating or whatever, because there's obviously no one in front of you with you at the moment that you can do the work on. But we're going to get a bit creative with it today. We're going to be imagining people to work with, and it works exactly the same for those of you that did the distance healing one that we did. We worked by placing just an idea, an intention that our leg from the knee to the hip represented a person's body, and we were able to scan on the leg, and that works. And I do that in my Reiki 2 classes. And what I normally try and do is take advantage of a friend's injury or illness for my class to test it on, so they can all test on someone that they don't know. Lovely Helen, who's on the call, was my volunteer for that at one of the classes. Had just had a little operation, and they were able to pick out where it was, and a gym injury that I hadn't known about, which confused me at the time, but got confirmed over the lunch break, and they all felt very pleased with themselves. So you don't have to know the person that you're working on from distance in these ways, just as we would do if they were with us. They obviously, it's good to get permission, but they don't need to be aware in the moment of what you're doing. The people that you're going to be imagining today, they don't need to be aware that you're doing the work in right now, whether you're doing this live today or for everyone that's watching the recording. They don't need to be sort of aware in the moment. It still works. So we're going to play around with that. We're going to do a bit of self-healing as well, but we're also going to do a little bit of an embodiment exercise before we get onto the Reiji Ho. And the reason for that is, I guess I'll start by explaining what Reiji Ho is. That's a good place to start. And it's a very simple technique. I think it means technique to show spirit. I think that's the translation, or one of the many translations. It's a technique for engaging with our intuition for where on the body we should be working. And when you guys signed up and filled in the form, I asked if people were using it and what their experience with it is. And what a lot of people said was that they're scanning, or they're just using, I quite liked the phrase normal intuition. I thought, what's that in this room? I don't think what we consider to be normal intuition is probably what people would generally say, but I did enjoy that. But we have these ways that we get used to when we're working on the energy body. We get used to how we tend to work on the next area of the body. Maybe we do this by looking at the energy body, and we've learned how to see. I sometimes see little sparks in the energy body, and so a lot of people are visual, and it works that way. A lot of people scan. That's sort of the normal Reiki way, that we scan our hands over the body to see where we should be working. And people have other methods as well. People use pendulums and things like that, which is quite fun. But Reiji Ho is slightly different. The way it works is you stand next to the person. They're on their treatment table, and you stand, I always stand in the middle, not for any like deep spiritual reason, just because it's practical to stand in the middle. And you bring your hands into the prayer position, and you raise them up to your third eye, and you just ask silently, not out loud, please let my hands be guided to where they are most needed. And then you stretch out your arms, so you are standing in like a strong position with your feet kind of shoulder width, hip width apart. So you're like comfortable, and you're able to allow your body to move. And this is how we do it when we're working on somebody. And you allow your hands to be moved to where you're going to be working. And the reason that this is different from scanning, the Japanese word given to when we're scanning the body is byosen. And what we're looking for is this feeling in our hands that shows that Reiki is flowing strongly in one part of the body more than it is in the others. It was sort of Reiki people talk about, oh, I found a hot spot or a cold spot, or maybe you feel the prickling or tingling in your hands. That is the sensation of Reiki leaving your body, being drawn in by the other person's body. So it's not that you're picking up on a sensation of pain or illness in the body. It's literally you move your hand and then you go, oh, hang on, here it's being pulled really strongly. That's all you're picking up on. Reiji Ho is different, and I've been reading around it, and what has always been my experience and my students' experience isn't really discussed in a way that I think kind of conveys what the difference is, practically speaking, in any of the books that I've found. And for me, the difference is that it's really a physical, embodied technique. It is not, we are standing with our hands up in the energy body. We're not close to the body like we are when we're scanning. So it's not that feeling of Reiki being pulled. We are asking to be shown, and then our body is pulled to where it needs to go. So it's effectively like your body becomes like the pendulum. Your body becomes the thing that is responding. It's a physical response in your body. It's not the feeling of Reiki moving through your hands. And in my experience, people move slightly, people's bodies are pulled in different ways. Sometimes people hold their hands out and they feel that the hands themselves are pulled. And so they'll be pulled one way or the other. Some people feel that that pull comes in the arm, and it's like they're sort of being, Reiki's a bit inelegant that way. Sometimes it sort of drags you along. For me, I feel the pull, it's much more in the hips, which is why I say stand in a strong position when you're doing this on someone. I get the pull lower in my body and it sort of yanks me along. It's a less graceful technique than people who get pulled by their hands, who are able to smoothly move along to where they're moving, whereas I'm sort of shunting along, being dragged, pulled by the hips. It's just, but that's where the pull is for me. But it's a physical pull in my body, and then once I get pulled to the place where I need to work, then I bring my hands down to work on the body, and then I feel the flow of Reiki through my hands. So it's not the same as when we're scanning over the body and we're just looking out for the feeling in our hands. What we're asking for is for our bodies to become divining rods, really. They're like, they are the pendulum, they are the rods, and it is a very physical feeling, a very physical technique. Not everybody loves it. Some people like get onto it and straight away they're like, oh, this is much easier. And some people are like, oh, I don't know, it takes a little while. I would say have a practice of it on clients and volunteers and students and people in your Reiki shares. Because even if it doesn't come immediately, I do think that all Reiki people can learn how to make this sensitivity more sensitive. But for some of us, it's a thing that just kind of comes in and we go, oh yeah, that's actually really helpful. It's effectively, yeah, we're the divining rod. We're asking the source energy body to show us where we want to go. And later we'll talk about how we can be really diagnostic with that, and we'll have a go of that. Because what we can also ask is very, very precisely, let's say, excuse me, let's say you want to work for physical healing. Say somebody's recovering from a physical illness, and you say, okay, I want to work on the areas where physical healing is most needed. And then you can ask that. when you come into this position, this Reiji Ho guidance position, please let my hands be guided to where physical healing is most needed. And then allow yourself to be pulled. And you wait for that pull to come, even if you think you know the answer. If somebody has been suffering from, I don't know, some kind of, I can't think of any illnesses, but if somebody's got like a physical pain in their body or something, you might think, well, you know where it is. And so you assume you're going to go there, but wait for your body to be pulled. And just like when we're doing scanning, we want to allow the mind to get out the way and the spirit and the body to do the work. Some pain in the body is referred from elsewhere in the body. Some, you know, we don't necessarily know exactly the right place to work just because we know what the person's experiencing in that moment. Equally, you can use it for you know, selective Reiji Ho, we call this. You can use it for if somebody is coming to you for something that's like a difficult emotional time for them, or something that's maybe something that's like a pattern in their lives, like something abstract, I guess. And we've talked about working with Reiki for abstract things. It does work. You can ask that question. This person is trying to release loneliness, or trying to break an old pattern with money or relationships, or something that doesn't necessarily feel obvious about where to work on the body. And you can ask that question. This healing is for the highest good of this person, to free themselves from this emotional difficulty or this behavioral pattern, and ask where on the body to work for that. And again, if you're working with specific symbols, where do I work with Shokugure? Where, let my hands be guided to where they're most needed to work with Seiheki. So you can be quite specific and diagnostic with it once you kind of get the hang of doing it. But like I say, it is very physical. And I think that sometimes in Reiki, we work with this sort of the flow, the ethereal, the visionary, it's spiritual energy. We're working in the energy body. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a huge part of what we do. But that little reminder that when we work with Reiki, we always work from the tanden, the hara, the bottom hara that is just behind and beneath the navel. And there are 3 of these main energy centers in the body in Reiki. One that's at the bottom, just behind and beneath the belly button, one in the heart and one in the head. And we always do this work from this place of embodiment and creativity and power, which is down here in the belly. I'm just pointing to it, even though I know you can't see me, but I'm not going to get up and show you my belly. You know where we're working from. We're working from the tanden. We're working from the hara, or the dantian, as it's called in Tai Chi. And what that's asking us to do, it's connected with the Shokugure energy. It's connected with this idea of the true self, spiritual energy, through physical action, through manifest action. So really connecting in with this idea of physically embodying the Reiki energy is a really important part of this. And so I thought the first thing that we could do today is a little bit of that kind of Reiki embodiment, to just get us out of thinking with our head and into allowing our body to guide us a little bit. So we're going to start, before we do any practical Reiji Ho, we are going to start with a technique called Reiki Undo, which a lot of you will know already. This is basically just allowing Reiki to move your body. And it's really good for releasing any stuck energy. It's really good for bringing energy back into your life that you need, connecting you with spirit, connecting you with joy, connecting you with energy. It's called Reiki Undo, Undo. And it's a Japanese Reiki technique that involves standing with your feet hip width apart, knees slightly bent, sort of a very sort of Tai Chi kind of pose. And we work with our hands raised upwards like this. So the hands, the palms of the hands are pointed upwards. so that we are drawing energy down. And it's in Tai Chi, that's a connecting heaven and earth pose. And that's how it begins. So I'm going to put some music on in a second. And what I'm going to ask you, I'll talk you through it as we do it as well. But mostly you're going to be kind of left in this energy work. We'll begin by focusing on the tanden, placing our hands in this position, standing if you can at all. It is more effective this way, but you can do it sitting down, but allow yourself to move. Make sure you have some space to move. I'm going to make sure that everyone's muted so nobody gets put on the camera, so you can all feel free that you will not be recorded in the movement. And we're just going to connect in with the energy, and we're just going to let it move us for a little while, my friends. I'm just going to change this sound. All right. So taking a couple of deep breaths, and like we always do, you can do this seated with movement if that's better for you, or standing if you can. Make sure you've got a little room for movement. Couple of deep breaths. Focus your attention on your tanden, just beneath and behind the navel, about 2 or 3 finger breaths beneath your belly button, about a third of the way in. And set your intention that this practice, this Reiki Undo technique, is for your highest good. Connect in with the Reiki source. Raise your hands, palms uppermost to the sky. Visualize Reiki as energy or light flooding down from above into the palms of your hands. Allowing that energy to flow down through the arms, down through the arms into the shoulders. Flowing down through that central channel of energy in the body until you feel that connection in your tanden. Once you feel that energy flow strongly into your body, just allowing your hands to hang down by your sides. Let them rest, let them be floppy. And start drawing energy down through your crown. Drawing it down through the crown, down through that central channel into your tanden. We're keeping the energy flowing downwards, and we're not releasing it out on the out breath. We're allowing it to build in the body. Let your body fill with Reiki energy. Keep the energy flowing down through the head. The whole head is filled. The arms are filled, the torso is filled. Down through the hips, down into the legs, right down into the feet. And allow your body, if it feels right, to start to move. And this might be small movements, a flick of the hand. You're releasing energy. Or you might start to sway. Don't force anything. Don't feel like if you're not moving enough, you're not doing it right. Let the energy flow and build in your body. You need to move your head, roll the neck or the shoulders. We're letting new energy flow in. We're releasing what's not needed, and let Source take care of that. Know you're in a held space. If you need to move, if you need to bend down, if you need to stretch up, then you can. This isn't static meditation. Keep that energy flowing and moving through your body. If your head's thinking about it, have a little shake. Let the energy in your body work together. Still drawing energy down, flowing down through the crown, still connected in at the tanden. The energy has filled your body and it's still coming. Let it move through you. Let your body fill. Let your body move. Or to be still if it feels right. Trust your body. And just keep that moving. Keep that flow going. Be in your body. Turning away from what we may have been releasing and drawing source energy in to call in what you need. Maybe that's joy. Maybe it's soothing. Maybe it's ease. Maybe it's peace. Make room for what you need to call in and be in this embodiment. And just the last few minutes of letting that energy flow, shaking out anything that still needs to go. Centering yourself in your body, calling that energy in. Calling in any energy you need for healing for yourself. If you're still moving, let yourself go for it. And if you're coming into stillness, let yourself be present with that. And drawing your attention now back to your tanden. Focusing your attention there. You might want to place your hands on the tanden, one over the other. Call yourself back into your center. No longer actively flowing Reiki in through the crown, no longer actively working with it, but taking a moment to sit with your body or stand with your body and feel how it feels compared to how it felt at the start. We're always working for our highest good. So if anything was moved and released and shaken out, just know that held in this space, my intention, your intention, source intention, is that that is just taken up by source and cleaned away. And know that you wouldn't have released anything that you needed to hold on to. Likewise, what was drawn into the body is giving you the healing you need in this moment. How are we all feeling? Everyone getting cozy again. Excellent, excellent. Good. Thumbs up. Good, good. That music was by Nigel Shaw and Carolyn Hillier. It's called Bones. You can use any music for this. You can use peaceful energy. You can use techno. You can use metal, whatever floats your boat, really, whatever's going to get it moving. Please go and buy some Carolyn Hillier and Nigel Shaw music, because I just use their music on here. I won't be broadcasting it or anything. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. If you ever get the chance to see them live, that's some serious embodiment, my friends. That's some serious shamanic dancing. It's something that my shamanic teacher has us do before we do any serious journeying. He has us rattle and leap around and move. The idea being that we get out of the head space and we go into the wisdom of the body and of the heart and of spirit, and it kind of clears the mind stuff away. So from this point of feeling grounded and centered after the work, we're going to go into a little Reiji Ho practice with a person that you have in mind that you're able to practice on. They don't need to be present and knowing that you're working at the moment, but it needs to be someone that you have, you would have their permission. Either you've asked them or it's someone you regularly do work with and you know they're up for this kind of thing. I think one of you said that you didn't have someone to work with. Was it you, Claire?
Yeah, I'm going to use my dad.
Ah, lovely, lovely. Perfect, perfect. Helen, do you need someone?
Yeah, I was going to use my son, but I realised I don't know what the etiquette is with children. Can they even give consent? I don't know. So
well, I will free you from that conundrum.
thank you.
Because a volunteer that I have is someone that you know, so it will be easy for you.
Yeah.
And it is our mutual friend Natalie.
Oh, lovely.
There you go. She is up for that. Does anyone else need a volunteer?
Can you do more than one person at any one time?
No, you need to be focused on one body at a time.
One body, okay.
Otherwise, you'll be pulled in too many different directions.
Right, okay.
And one thing to bear in mind is that we have one place that we're going to be pulled to at a certain point. So trust your body, let yourself be pulled to one place. And what you would do in a treatment setting is you would work on that one place until you felt in your hands that it was time to move on. And then you would come back into this position again and ask again, please let my hands be guided to where I'm most needed, and then let it happen again. Does everyone have someone to focus on? No one else needs anybody? Excellent. I will get you guys to either be sat or stand up if you're going to find this easier. And what I'm going to ask you to do is visualize the person's body in front of you. And you can do this with distance healing, even if you don't know the person well. I can just, if you were to give me like a name, and you know, an idea of the person that you wanted me to work on, I would just visualize like a light body. And if that's easier for your visualization, your intention says that it's your dad or your friend or your partner or whatever, but you don't need to visualize them in great detail. A light body will be fine. But if it is someone that you know, you can visualize them in as much detail as makes it easy for you to focus. And I want you to come to a position where you're able to visualize yourself. Now, if you're not able to stand up, guys, and you end up sort of feeling yourself pulled to a place that's sort of uncomfortable, difficult for you to get to from your chair, this is accessible stuff, right? So if you guys aren't mobile, anybody who's watching this on the recording, you're just visualizing them, so you can kind of shunt them down to where they need to be once, because we are going to give them a little bit of healing to pick up in good timing. But let your body, you're tuning into your body first and allowing the movement to happen. So take a moment to visualize the person or a light body that you intend represents that person, and connect yourself back in with Reiki for a moment. I know we just did some. But now we're connecting for the purpose of being in service to another. This is diagnostic. Set your intention. This is for the person's highest good. And any Reiki that you flow out in this little exercise will be received by that person for their highest good in perfect and divine timing. I don't want you to worry about it coming to them now. It will come to them when the timing is perfect, when they come to a position of rest. Visualize their body in front of you as though you were giving them a physical treatment. Feel that flow of Reiki energy from above through your body. Feel yourself connected with the energy. Let the energy build in your body. Allow yourself to merge with that flow of energy. Visualize yourself next to this person. Bring your hands up into prayer position at your third eye. And ask, please allow my hands to be guided to where healing is most needed for this person, for their highest good. And then stretch your arms out in front of you. And allow yourself to trust the movement of your body. Now, this may take a moment. Don't rush it. You can be patient. You might find the pull is from your hands. It might be from your wrists, your arms, your shoulders. It might be from your hips, as I tend to feel it. You might find that you are swaying. Allow that natural movement to happen in your body as though you are that divining rod. If you sway, are you being pulled forwards? If so, maybe you need to be working close to the body or inside the body. Maybe you're being pulled to be around the other side of the body than the one that you're visualizing. You might be being pushed backwards, outwards, in which case maybe you need to be out in the energy field. Or you might be being pushed up to the head or down to the feet. Trust where your hands are being pulled. Allow your body, however fast or slow, to take you to where on the body you need to work, and then place your hands over that part of the body. If you need to be creative with your visualization here, if you're being pushed out into the energy body, you might just visualize them further away from you. If you're seated and you saw yourself being taken around to the other side of the body, shift your visualization, place your hands there. And we're all just going to channel Reiki for the highest good of that person in the place where you were drawn to work. Drawing Reiki down from above, flooding it out through your hands, flooding them into the person that you're working on, intending that will be received in perfect timing for their highest good. And trusting to your hands, your intuition here, guys. If you need to remain in that place, allow the energy to keep flowing. But when it's time to move on to the next hand position, bring your hands back up into prayer position at the third eye. Visualize your client and ask for your hands to be guided to where they are most needed. And then outstretch your arms and allow your body to move you once again. We're leaning into our own bodies as instruments of healing here. Trust these movements. They might be big, they might be small, it might be a tiny twitch. It may even be that you feel in your body where you need to work on their body. This is physical, not visual, physical. As you're moved into each hand position, allow the energy to flow out of your hands. Give that person the healing that they need for their highest good. Whenever it's time to move into a new hand position, you can come back and ask that question again. Let my hands be guided to where I am most needed. And where you're pulled to might be a hand position that you already know. You might find yourself with your hands in a position you use normally, but it might be that your hands are spread out wide, that you have one hand on one part of the body and one hand on the other. That might be the pull. Keeping the Reiki flow going. When the flow starts to slow down in your hands, you can bring yourself back into that Reiji position. Hands in the prayer position at the third eye. Please let my hands be guided to where they're most needed. Allowing yourself to be taken into one last hand position for the person you've chosen. Taking this opportunity to flood the person that you've chosen with as much energy as you can flow through your hands at this time for their highest good. Just letting that Reiki flow into your person that you have chosen, just for a few more moments. Reaffirming that this healing has been for their highest good. And then, just as you would if the person was physically in front of you, just smoothing over the energy body, just sealing things over, just as you would if they were physically present. Bringing yourself back into your center, disconnecting from that person you've been working on. You might want to do Kenyoku, just the dry bathing to separate yourself out, or just rubbing and shaking the hands. No longer actively channeling Reiki, just feeling yourself centered in your body, in your tanden, your energy body. Breathing yourself back into your center. Now, my friends, obviously this is slightly easier to play around with when there's someone in front of you, particularly if it's not a client that's, you know, that you need to be a little bit, you know, skillful and careful with your words and how you're talking about it. In a classroom environment, this is really fun to play around with, because people, first of all, they don't know how their bodies are going to move, and I just get to sit back and gleefully watch how that plays out. More than one person has been sent back like this, like sort of almost pushed back across the room. I never managed to not laugh at that. It's very unprofessional of me, I know, but it's really funny how physical it is sometimes for people. And also this sense where people are being pulled. But what I always observe when people are practicing this in the classroom is I always see at least one or two people in the class. I can see them start to move. They'll start to sway a little bit in their body because it's a physical thing. Or they'll start to lean one way, and then I'll see them start to think about it and self-correct and bring themselves back in, because there's like an inherent mistrust in it. And I think, you know, worrying about getting it wrong, all those kinds of things, that happens when we're practicing. And then finally I get people go, oh, okay, sure, I am going to trust it. I am being pulled in the same direction again. And of course, if you're practicing on someone that you know, who knows that you're practicing a technique, then you can ask them questions about what it is that you're finding in the body, where you're being drawn to. And then I get to see things again in the classroom. It's very amusing to me where people are like, oh, I really felt this here. And they go, oh, yes, I had a terrible accident. And they go, yes. And I go, please, less joyful at accurately finding it. But it's just like, it's such a sense of accomplishment when you find it. That said, when you do practice this on people, and I think it does work, because I was working on somebody there and I didn't necessarily get what I was expecting when I was just doing a little bit of checking in for someone there. Sometimes the person won't be able to validate what you felt drawn to work to, and that is okay. We're trusting where the source is guiding us. We're trusting our own bodies. We know that our bodies can be we are vessels for healing. So trust what your body does, even if the person doesn't say, oh my God, that feels so resonant, because they might not know, and you don't necessarily have to know. But when you put your hands in that position and the energy flows, you know you've been guided to the right place. And we have to trust it, even if we're not going to get exact affirmation as to why. It's great sometimes when you go and do that and they say, oh, I didn't tell you about that, you didn't know that had happened. So just that's like a confidence boosting thing for us. But don't be disheartened if they don't recognize why you worked there, because it could be that you're working on the energy body. It could be that it's something that's sort of on its way in or on its way out that you're helping to move, that they won't be necessarily physically aware of. So allow yourself to trust what your body is telling you. Where I was working just then is somebody that I know has a neck injury, but that wasn't the first place that I was pushed to work. I was pushed to be out in the far outside of the energy body. And I'm not 100% sure what that means. People always ask me in the classroom, what does it mean that I'm out here? And we don't always know. I'm assuming that there's something sort of spiritual level or soul level, energy level, I'm going to sit with this later, that's going on, as well as the physical, and that is connected. But what I will actually do when I sit down and do a proper session for her later is I will just work in the energy body and allow the energy to flow. And I suggest that you do the same. Any questions or feedback or sharings from the practice? Did everyone get a little bit of movement, get a little bit of guidance as to where to go? For those of you that I could see, you were moving.
I started to do the work and I thought the head was this end, and then I kind of just, because I kept my eyes closed because I could feel it better, and then the body had switched and the head was the other way round. So I'm not sure if I perceived it right, or or that actually happened. I don't know, but I thought the head was that end and then the head came this end, and so I was like working at this end, which was really weird.
Were you working at the head?
I thought I was working on the body and I thought the feet were here, and then it kind of, the whole thing switched around and I was working on the shoulder.
Interesting.
But I knew there was a shoulder problem, so I'm not sure if that was me. I mean, I felt it. I felt all the tingling and the swaying and everything else. But it was just really weird because I thought, I kind of went, oh, the body switched. And I wasn't sure if I saw that right.
Well, you know, this is the thing with Reiji Ho. It's intended to be done physically over the body. It absolutely works over the energy body, but of course then we get to do all kinds of trickery with our mind where we can make them smaller. If you have to work on the whole body, just make them smaller and work this way. And if you, like I said, you have to kind of move them. So it brings in sort of aspects of remote healing that we talked about in a previous one about distance healing, which is on one of the playlists, guys, the Reiki 1 playlist. I think I'll attach it in the follow-up email. But yeah, trust what you saw, that you were, you know, if it switched it around and you were working on the shoulders, then I would say trust it. But that's quite funny to me that it did that against your will.
I kind of thought, oh, okay, because I think you were talking about working on the other side, and I thought, well, I can't switch over, so I'm going to just stay here. And then next minute, the body had switched. It was weird.
The joys of working remotely.
Yeah.
We can move people around. They're much easier to work on than people that are physically there. You put your hands underneath the body in a way that's much more comfortable if they're remotely working with you. Any other comments or feedback, Helen?
I wasn't really expecting to. I was like, oh, well, we'll see where this goes. And I was pulled whoosh to one side. And I was like, oh yeah, it works. Real whoosh.
It is. I'm not kidding when I say I've had multiple students get like almost fall over backwards. I sort of have to be a little bit vigilant and ready to kind of catch people in the classroom. It is surprising how strong it can come through sometimes. And it's not for everybody. Sometimes it all depends. Our bodies are all different. So for some people, it will be a tingle in the body that corresponds with the body of the person that you're working on. I've had a few people, I don't see that very often, but I've had a few people say that that's how it comes through. Like I say, some people, they just get a real smooth like movement of the hands, but sometimes it's a shove.
I was pulled quite forcibly forwards, so I'm standing at an empty treatment table and I actually banged my thigh on the table.
Sorry, Joanne.
Which came as a shock too, because I wasn't really expecting anything to happen because I've never worked this way before. But I didn't get pulled left or right. I was just sort of stretched across the table. As far as I'm aware, my friend doesn't have any problems down the right-hand side of her body, so I don't quite understand what that was about, but it was unmistakable.
I love that.
Yeah, it wasn't, I certainly didn't make it up.
Well, and sometimes it's nice to get something that you weren't expecting. You know, when you know, if it's someone you know, which in this kind of scenario it's always going to be, you are going to allow yourself to, you know, come in with your preconceived ideas, which is why I wanted to do that embodiment exercise before. It sort of gets a lot of that stuff out the way, lets you feel more connected with your body. But the pull is unmistakable. If it's something that was only very slight for you, I advise you to practice it and see if you can build it up. And, you know, well, there's loads of different ways to perceive the energy body. Some people don't get on with Reiji Ho and they don't use it again, and that's fine. But if you did get a reaction in your body, then I'd advise, you know, working to develop it, because it's really interesting how your body responds. I also super appreciate, Joanne, that you went into the treatment room for this, got your treatment bed out.
Yes, I've got an empty treatment table with a cat on the floor underneath it.
It's perfect, and it works even though it's remote, which is obviously not the intention of Reiji Ho. We are restricted by Zoom, but it's worth doing, worth connecting in with. Remotely, it still works. You get pulled. And also working on a particular side of the body, Joanne, not to like get into analyzing mode, because we don't ever really necessarily know for certain, but sometimes it isn't something that's on the side of the body so much as, you know, certain, you know, different spiritual systems will say that the right hand side is to do with like action and doing, and the left hand side of the body is to do with like receiving or emotion. So sometimes it's about how energy is being expressed within the body and a way to kind of reset and rebalance that. So I always say, go where your hands are guided, not where you're expecting to go or where your client thinks you should go. Trust where you're being pulled always, because it could be something that you weren't even thinking of or not aware of.
Yeah, so after that had happened, I then tried to reset and start again, and then I didn't get pulled anywhere after that. It was just forwards. So I wasn't being told to go anywhere else. So I don't know. We shall see.
Hopefully you can chat with your friend and do some like
I will.
proper session, because obviously this is little mini sessions. It's very interesting to see how it comes through.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's a really fun little technique. If you are working on people physically in front of you, I recommend that you try on the body, because the sensation is slightly different and you'll feel the pull differently. But working remotely, it absolutely works, and it just grounds you into connection with what your client needs in that moment, because you know you've stepped out of your idea of what should be done, and it just helps keep us in that highest good mode, letting ourselves trust in the energy. I'm going to do, we have 15-20 minutes. I'm going to do one last little practical exercise, which I know it's been lots of practical. I would like you, and I love the fact that Joanne's got the treatment bed set up for this. This is so pleasing to me as an idea. But what I would like you guys to do is we're going to, in a moment, we're going to drop back down into our center and reconnect in with Reiki for one more little practice. And what we're going to do is we're going to work with Reiji Ho, but this time I would like you to visualize yourself. Visualize your own body, your own energy body on the treatment table or in front of you, and let yourself be in that. Of course, we can work just with our hands on our body or just by intending to flow the energy, but it's this diagnostic sort of quality that I'd like to drop into with this. Allow your body to guide you and to let you be surprised by it. And what I'm going to ask you to do is think of something that you would like to receive. So maybe it's a particular type of healing that you're already working on. Maybe it's something that you're having difficulty with in your life that you would like, you know, you're carrying that. Maybe there's tension or anxiety in the body, maybe there's tiredness, maybe you are seeking to call in happiness or peace or joy or love or any of that, we can work on the body for physical things, emotional things, or abstract things. This is your little mini treatment for yourself now. So just think of something that you would like to receive healing for. And we're going to use this technique, as well as healing for yourself, to show yourself using this same diagnostic method, this physical divining method, and to show you where on your body you would work. I know we're properly getting into the abstract now. Take a moment, drop back into your center. Set your intention that this little mini healing will be for your highest good. And if you have a particular healing for yourself that you want to call in, if there's something you want to release from your body or from your situation, you can call that in. Or if it's just for what you need in this moment, that is also perfect. Visualize yourself lying in front of you on the treatment table or on the bed, or just visualizing your whole body, your energy body, and yet remain grounded in your physical body. Both of these things are possible when we are working with Reiki source energy. Visualize yourself as you are now, or as an energy body, a light body. Set your intention for the highest good. Bring your hands into the Reiji Ho prayer position above the third eye. Please let my hands be guided to where my healing is most needed. And reiterate your intention here, what you're calling in. Stretching your arms outwards, hovering over that visualization of your own energy body. Let yourself be pulled. Trust your physical body as the vessel. Trust your intentional body as a guide. And I'm going to ask you to let yourself work on your own intentional body with your physical body. Let yourself be drawn to where you need to work. Allow the energy to flow strongly from source through your hands. And if you need to stay in that one position, then you can. If you need to move again, come back into that position and ask to be guided. This is a healing for your highest good. And a diagnostic exercise to show you where in your body you need a greater flow of energy. Now I'm just going to hold and support the work with some Reiki drumming. Just spend 10 minutes now allowing that energy to flow. Let your hands, your body guide you. show you what you need. Approaching it this way, maybe seeing something you weren't aware of before. But remember, this is also a healing. So allow the energy to flow to where you're guided. Releasing the hand position that you're working in, bringing yourself back into your center. Allow that intentional energy body that you've created to either fade away or merge into your real body, whatever feels right to bring it to a close as a visualization. And sit in the flow of Reiki energy for a moment. This is a healing for you. Maybe you receive that healing energy into your body now. Maybe you'll get to sit in the full receiving of it after this workshop. Just be present with your body for this moment. No longer actively flowing Reiki energy from above. Feel yourself present in your physical body. Seal up your own physical energy body. Feel yourself grounded, feel yourself present. Breathe yourself into your center. Whew. It's a bit of a strange idea, I know, but there's something to be said for divorcing ourselves from looking inside and looking at our body in a more slightly separate way, if that makes sense. Sometimes it allows us to go, oh, hang on a second, that doesn't look right, that needs smoothing out, in a way that perhaps if you've become accustomed to holding attention in your body, you might not notice it if you're trying to, you know, treating ourselves as, it's easy in lots of ways, but diagnostically less so, I think. How's everyone feeling? Is everyone in their bodies? You all look very present.
It's amazing, amazing.
Worked for you?
Started off with big me, and then I went to mini me, which was really weird. And I could feel all the sensations going through me. It was incredible, really deep, really, really deep. Thank you.
Lovely. I'm glad. And I hope it gives like useful information to people to carry away into a bigger session, because obviously this is just like, as I say, these are little mini practices that we do on here. But you know, it's always good to get inspiration for how we can go deeper in our self-healing. Put some music on, visualize yourself, get the treatment table out, and yeah, visualize it that way. And then you can you can either set it up so that you're working in the moment, and then you're in that strange, there's the Benzuru self-healing that I use. You visualize an intentional you standing behind you, working on the real you, and you can feel the sensations while you're visualizing it. They're both happening in the moment. You can feel your hands tingling even though they're not the hands that you're using, and you can feel the energy coming into your head during the treatment. So treating yourself this way can feel that way also. But it might not. You can intend that you're flooding the energy body with that, and then lie down and receive it in one hit afterwards. That is also a valid way of doing it. And for the Reiki masters among you, you can do the same with self Reiji empowerments. Do it over an empty chair and then sit down and go, okay, I'm ready, and then receive it. So that's quite a useful thing to bear in mind while we're doing that. And hopefully, yeah, it just shifts your perspective a little bit, gives you some useful inspiration and some ideas and information for your self-healing. This has been a fun little session. Is there any questions before we've got a couple of minutes left, but I don't want to keep you guys hanging. Any questions regarding Reiki Undo or Reiki Reiju on anybody, or self-healing? Any questions that have come up?
Not for me, but I did think that was incredible.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
I'm glad. I like these little healing sessions that we do in here. So I try and sneak a bit of self-healing in all the time. We always need a bit more. All right, my lovelies. If any questions come up after this, I will be putting the recording up and I'll send you guys the link. And feel free to reply to that email with questions, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. And as always, when you're doing healings for yourself and for other people, drink lots of water, ground yourself, look after yourselves. You know the score. Take the time to do that. Don't rush off to do anything else. And also, if the person that you were working with, you're going to go back and say what you saw, just a little reminder, especially if they don't do this work themselves, just be gentle and skillful with your words. Do not say anything in your descriptions that they might go, oh my God, what's wrong? You know, just if you're going to communicate with them about what you picked up on their body, yeah, just be skillful in that conversation. We are always working to empower people when we're talking about their healing, not to make them feel like there's something wrong that needs to be fixed. So just drop in that reminder in there, because it's good for all of us to remember. And that's all for today. I hope that you will go forth and use this on other people and do lots of extra self-healing on yourselves. Thank you for coming, all of you that are here on the live, and thank you to everybody else who's signed up, who I know will be watching this on the recording. I send you lots of love, and yeah, go forth and do your weird swaying thing over other people's bodies.
Thank you. Night.
Thank you guys so much. See you soon.